This is a practice video for Perpetual Motion. And after you've had a chance to look at the music and figure out what notes you're going to be playing, watch this video so that you know which things to practice. The first thing we're going to work on is using our fourth finger on the A string to play an E. And it's the same sound or same pitch as your open E. And finally, we're going to look at each section of the piece and go through those sections so that you'll be super comfortable and familiar with the sections and the order of the sections. So now you're going to review how to hold your violin, how to set up your left hand and your bow hand, and you're going to warm up with a scale, and then you're going to start working on these skills. So have fun!
Make sure you're holding your violin properly. Find the end button, put it up against your neck and over your shoulder, and then hug your violin with your shoulder and your chin. Stand up nice and tall. Set up your left hand properly. Hold the neck of the violin between the knuckle above the base of your first finger and the pad of your thumb. Tap, tap, tap the pad of your thumb and hover your fingers over the strings and over their tapes. Your wrist should have no bends. Set up your bow hold. Put the tip of your thumb up against the stick next to the frog and bend your thumb knuckle, and then match up the lines of the middle and ring finger on the other side of the stick. Put your other two fingers into place. The first finger should be touching the stick in between your two knuckles, and your pinky should be curved and on top as you slowly rotate the hair down onto the string.
We're going to practice the A major scale first by looking at the string finger chart. So as we play the scale, follow the laser pointer from note to note and notice the intervals in between each note. Whole steps are not touching, half steps are touching. So I am going to turn on the metronome. You're hearing quarter notes, and I am going to play half notes. That's 2 clicks per note. Get your violin set up, get your left hand set up, hover your fingers over the strings and over their tapes. Make sure your fingers are going to land on the tapes when they go down onto the fingerboard. Set up your bow hold and rotate the bow down onto the A string. Your pinky should be engaged, curved, and on top of the stick. 1, 2, ready, play. Now that you've reviewed how to set up your violin properly, how to set up your left hand in your bow hold, and now that you've also warmed up with a scale, it's time to practice the skills that you need in order to play this piece. So in this practice module, you're going to see a video of the skill that you're working on so that you have a chance to see what the fingers look like, what the bow distribution looks like. And then you're going to have a chance to practice the skill while you look at the notation on the staff. And it's important throughout this practice video that you remember that you can always pause, rewind, and review any segment that you're working on. And in fact, I encourage you to do this as often as possible so that you have a chance to practice the skill until you feel completely comfortable with it. So have fun with this.
1, 2, ready, play.
We're going to look at the string finger chart so that you can see the distance between the notes as we're using fourth finger to play E on the A string. So you need to set up your violin and then set up your left hand. Set up your bow hold, rotate your bow down onto the A string. Second finger needs to be on the tape for the C sharp, and then the D will be a half step away, so third finger touching second, And then the E with your fourth finger will be a whole step away. So let's try this. I'm not going to turn the metronome on. We're just going to play. 1, 2, ready, go. And make sure you pause and rewind if you would like to see the visual of the string finger chart again. Now we're going to practice using our fourth finger on the A string to play E. And in this practice example, first we have a quarter note followed by quarter rest in between each note. So we have time to put our fingers down. So you should put your finger down during the rest. And then in the next section, we have no rests in between the notes. And then finally, we're going to play eighth notes just like it's notated in the piece. So I'm going to turn on the metronome and we're going to keep steady. Set up your violin, set up your left hand, and then set up your bow hold. Rotate your bow down onto the A string, get your second finger on the tape. 1, 2, ready, play. Put your finger down. Put your finger down. Take your finger off. Now straight quarters. Now eighths. Now please pause and rewind and practice this several times before going on to the next section.
One, two, ready, play.
Now that you've seen a video of the first section of Perpetual Motion, we are going to practice it while looking at the notation on the staff. And I just want to point out that the first E that we play, we're going to use fourth finger on the A string, just like we practiced in the previous section. And then the following E is played using open string. And then the next time the pattern repeats, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use fourth finger on the A string to play E. So I have marked those fingerings. Now get ready to play by setting up your violin. Set up your left hand. Set up your bow hold. Rotate your bow down onto the A string. We're listening to eighth notes, so 1 click per note. 1, 2, ready, play. Fourth finger. Open E. Now please pause and rewind and practice this several times before going on to the next component. We're going to practice the first section of Perpetual Motion while looking at the string finger chart so you get a sense of the pattern on the strings. So I'm going to turn the metronome on. I want you to set up your violin and then set up your left hand, tap, tap, tap your thumb. Set up your bow hold, rotate your bow down onto the A string. Get ready to play. 1, 2, ready, go. Now please pause and rewind to play with this string finger chart several times before going on.
1, 2, ready, play.
You just saw a video of section 2 of Perpetual Motion, so now we're going to practice while looking at the notation on the staff. I'm going to turn the metronome on. Please set up your violin and then set up your left hand. Tap, tap, tap your thumb. Set up your bow hold. Rotate your bow down onto the E string. Put your third finger down for that first note, which is A. So third finger on the E string plays A. 1, 2, ready, play. Again, please pause and rewind to practice this several times before moving on. Now that you've practiced section 2 while looking at the notation on the staff, now we're going to practice while looking at the string finger chart so you get a sense of the pattern of the notes on the strings. So once again, I'm going to turn the metronome on. Please set up your violin and then set up your left hand. Tap, tap, tap your thumb. Wiggle your fingers till they're hovering over the tapes. Set up your bow hand. Rotate your bow down onto the E string. Put third finger on the tape so that you're on A. Third finger plays A on the E string. You're hearing eighth notes. Each click is one note. 1, 2, ready, play.
One, two, ready, play.
Now, section 3 of Perpetual Motion is what I like to call skip up, skip down, step up, same note, because that's the pattern of the notes on the staff. So, starting from the last note, our first note of section 3 skips up from the A to the C sharp, and then we skip down back to the A, and then we step up to the B, and then we play that same note. And then again, we'll skip up to a D, skip down to the B, step up to the C sharp, and then play the same note. And then finally, we skip up to the E, which we play with fourth finger on the A string. We skip down to the C sharp. We step up to the D, but then we continue stepping up, stepping up, stepping up, stepping up to the A, third finger on the E string, and then we play the same note. That's section 3. Skip up, skip down, step up, same note. So we're going to start on the first note of section 3, even though I included the last 4 notes of section 2. So let's set up your violin, set up your left hand. I'm turning the metronome on so you hear eighth notes. Set up your bow hand. Rotate your bow down onto the A string. Put your second finger on the C sharp. We've just skipped up from the open A from section 2. 1, 2, ready, play. Same note, skip up, skip down, step up, same note. Okay, so please pause and rewind and practice this several times before going on to the next section. Now we're going to practice section 3 while looking at the string finger chart so you get familiar with the pattern of the notes on the strings. So we're going to start on the C sharp again, which is the first note of section 3, but we have skipped up from the last note of section 2, which was an open A. So from that open A, last note of section 2, skip up to section 3's first note, which is C sharp. So that's the note we're going to start on. I'm going to turn the metronome on so you hear eighth notes. Set up your violin, set up your left hand, set up your bow hand, rotate your bow down onto the A string. We've skipped up from open A, so we're on C sharp. 1, 2, ready, go. Skip down, step up, same note, skip up, skip down, step up, same note, skip up, skip down, up the scale, all the way to A. Now pause and rewind and play it a few times before you go on to the next section. So you have practiced all 3 sections of Perpetual Motion, and now it's time to put them all together in order to play the whole piece. So when you play the whole piece, you'll start with section 1, and then you'll play section 2, and then you'll play section 3 twice. And you'll end the piece with section 1. So the next thing you see is going to be a video of the entire piece. Have fun playing the whole piece and practicing each individual section.
1, 2, ready,